All right, y'all, we're going to take a look at this boudoir photography business today and see, if these two Google searches, local search and city search, have BSS, yes or no. So we're back here in the GBC universe. So we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the number one boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, standing for full spectrum intent capture. More on that, pinned video, home video, whatever, somewhere on this profile. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. If our business is rising, if it's growing, we're probably bringing in peeps from this entire spectrum of intent, high intent over on the left, lowest intent over on the right. But if our business is falling, we're missing a chunk of people somewhere. So FSIC will kind of help reorient us what we should be doing. Now here, we only talk about BSS, talk about the highest intent people way over on the left. There's people doing social search and Google search to literally for a boudoir photo shoot in our city right now. Highest intent people closest to the money, easiest to convert. And all the way over on the right, we talk about on our other brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. We talk about BLCS, and there's the lowest intent people, but it's the highest volume of people that exist out there in our city, people that are not currently searching for a boudoir photo shoot right at this second. So we cover both ends, and in our other brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, we currently only work with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. So on to BSS. So boudoir search sameness. BSS is when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0 slots on page 1 of Google, that means we're on page 2 or deeper. We're dead, because we know that approximately 80% of all Google searches are page 1 search only. They never even go to page 2. So approximately 80% of the market, the bulk of the market, never even sees page 2, let alone anything deeper. So we got to be on page 1. And guess what? 1 slot on page 1 ain't good enough either, because if we got there's 10 organic slots page 1 or per page on Google. So that means there will most likely be 9 other boudoir photographers all with 1 slot. Well, guess what a buyer's going to do? They're going to click and open everyone's website on page 1, because most likely they ain't going to page 2. So just page 1, contact everyone, get quotes from everyone, and actually, price shop everyone. Everyone's been price shopped against 9 others, and that's not good. It's not good enough. So that is boudoir search sameness. Now, 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google is not normal. Yeah, dude, it is not normal to have such few page 1 slots on Google. And it's common, but it's not normal. It's actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. And the 2 deeper root causes are, one, basically everyone knows about market saturation, and one, basically nobody knows about the false belief of page 1 equality. So market saturation, that's when anyone gets a new iPhone, they throw out their Google My Business profile and their websites, and they now do boudoir photo shoots. Or they get a new camera, now they start posting in the mom groups on Facebook, saying they now do boudoir photo shoots. So market saturation, usually because of new gear, and more sellers, the same number of buyers, make it difficult for every single seller. Now, there's also big market saturation that happened with COVID. A lot of people lost their jobs, couldn't work, still had to earn money. Everyone's got a camera on their phone, good camera. So a lot of boudoir photographers came into the market then as well, lowering prices, lowering margins for everyone. And the false belief of page 1 equality, this is actually the number one, from what I've seen, the number one killer of boudoir photography businesses. And this is basically assuming everyone gets, every boudoir photographer is going to get either 0 or 1 slots, page 1 on Google. And yeah, I had 1 slot there on my website, but another boudoir photographer came in ranked above me. And yeah, I'm now on page 2, but nothing we can do. That's simply how it is. I got to accept it. Hopefully, someone deletes their website on page 1 and Google re-pushes me up. And so this is a false belief. This is not real. What actually is real is Google will give us as many slots on page 1 as we want to put in the effort to acquire. And I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 in 10 days using the methodology I'm going to show in 2 pictures here. So false belief of page 1 equality, number one killer of boudoir photography business, is because it makes boudoir photography business owners freeze. They don't even know it's a false belief. They don't even know they don't have to accept it. So they kind of don't even break out of the brain cage to look for solutions, because they didn't even know it was a problem, that they were believing something false. So false belief of page 1 equality. We also know that boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer. Look, dude, if we got boudoir search sameness, we got 0 slots on page 1, we're only on page 2 or deeper. Approximately only 20% of searches are even seeing us. Yeah, we're disappearing, and that's the canary in the coal mine. Disappearing boudoir photographer means our business is also on the path to disappearing as well. This is the canary in the coal mine, kind of the first signal to us that, oh man, we got to make some big changes fast. Otherwise, if we got one slot on page one, not good enough either, and that's because one person could hop up from the older pages or a new boudoir photographer, kick us off. Now we're on page two, or even if we stay on page one, we're getting price shopped. We're not standing out. We're being compared to everyone else who also has one link. So we're not standing out. We're not being seen as anything special. So starting our universe here. Disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the two horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. Finally, though, we finally have a solution. We know that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S-cubed methodology, and we know that because I invented it, and I actually used it to go from 0 out of 10 slots on page one of Google to 9 out of 10 slots on page one on Google in 10 days. Now, S-cubed methodology, we finally got a solution to solve, market saturation, page one equality. And actually, it's the only thing I've ever seen for boudoir photographers that can successfully hold back and outcompete market saturation and actually allow a boudoir photographer to continue to grow and scale in the face of market saturation. And the reason for that is, let's say we're in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. There's 1 million boudoir photographers total. Everyone's got a website talking about that they're a boudoir photographer. We're one of those boudoir photographers. And we actually realize, hey man, we got to turn up S-cubed methodology to the max. And the way it works is kind of exactly what the name says. We saturate social search with all the highest intent keywords with us being there. And when that happens, it's kind of like, the small rivers on the backside of the Andes Mountains in South America. When that happens, all those flow into the Amazon. That all flows onto page one of Google. Well, if we get enough density. And so let's say we're saturating the first 300 slots across all social search avenues for the highest intent keywords. That flows onto Google. Let's say we're also, simple example, we're also saturating the first 300 slots in Google for the highest intent keywords in our city. Well, that means when a buyer is searching for a boudoir photo shoot right in their city, it's 10 organic slots per page on Google. So we're occupying the first 30 pages of Google. And the other 999,999 boudoir photographers start on page 31 of Google. Ain't no buyers going to page 31. Nope. Ain't no buyers going there. Which means we're the easiest to find. We're showing up everywhere. We are basically kind of the only one peeps can find on organic Google search. And so guess whose business is still growing in the face of 999,999 other boudoir competitors? Ours. So we're dominating social search, which flows into page one Google search and actually flows into some other places, which we'll hear about at the end. So this S-cubed methodology, this is the only thing that I've seen that can happen, get the results super fast to stave off and overcome market saturation. The only other thing, there is a second option, is brand. But that takes years, potentially even decades to build. We ain't got decades anymore. We need results ASAP. So S-cubed methodology is the only thing that I'm seeing that fits this criteria. Now, once you're with S-cubed methodology, we have page one visibility. A bonus side effect of achieving page one visibility is we are kicking competing boudoir photographers off page one, effectively making them invisible. Yeah, that's right. So for every single page one slot we take from a competitor, that we get on Google, we're taking it from a competitor and we're pushing one more competitor off page one. But we know approximately 80% of Google searches never even go to page two. They're page one only searches, which means, yeah, we're getting more slots on Google page one, but guess what? For the 80% bulk of the market that we want to come into us, we're actually disappearing our competitors that we can be price shopped against, and buyers ain't even going to find them. 80% of buyers that we care about ain't even going to find them because they don't go past page one of search. So this is a added bonus of using S-cubed methodology, kicking our competitors out. You got to scroll way farther than 80%. Ain't scrolling nowhere, and they ain't scrolling past page one. Page one visibility also activates boudoir search visibility for us. Now, this means we're no longer at 0-1 slots on page one. We actually have a GBC recommended minimum of getting the 3 out of 10 slots on page one for boudoir search visibility. That's because if we got 3 out of 10 on page one, basically all our competitors will have 1 out of 10 on page one. And so kind of instinctively, buyers will think, oh, why is Google recommending this person 3 different times compared to everyone else only once? They're probably really good. I should actually check them out first or be the only person I check out. So we're going to dominate the people that got 1 slot, which is basically everyone. Very, very rare cases, someone else will have 2 slots. Extremely rare, but in that extremely rare case, we're dominating them as well. So that's boudoir search visibility. And a boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility is a visible boudoir photographer. So here's our entire micro-universe, a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and page one equality. But finally, yes, we do have a solution for this, our S-cubed methodology, which we created. And we achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer, and we have boudoir search visibility. All right, now my results use an S-cubed methodology for myself. So I want to rank for the term BLCS boudoir. So I went and I used S-cubed methodology because I created it, so I know how to do it. And we see organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Organic slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. And slot 10, me. So I did this in 10 days. I went from 0 out of 10 slots, Google page 1 organic search, to 9 out of 10 slots, Google page 1 organic search in 10 days, purely utilizing S-cubed methodology. Can brand overcome market saturation that fast? There's no time to build a brand. We got AI coming taking people's jobs. There's no time. We're out of time to build a brand. We need a faster solution that gives faster results, get us on page 1 of Google, get us dominating, get us kicking our competitors off. All right, so now we're here, the main event. We're gonna see if this boudoir photography business has BSS for their local search. We're gonna see if they have it for their city search. All right, so here we go. Boudoir photographer, Roseville, California. So let's see what we got here. All right, we got one. Let's see. All right, we got two. All right, so we got 2 out of 10, so we do not have BSS for the local search, but we did not hit the recommended GBC minimum of 3 out of 10. So now let's look at the full city search. Sacramento. So let's see here. Let's see, we got nope, 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 nope. Nope. All right, so it looks like we got 0 out of 10 here for Sac. All right, so we're missing a bunch of Sacramento peeps. All right, so final verdict, we got, well, we do not have BSS for Roseville, the local search, but we did not meet the GBC minimum, recommended minimum of 3 out of 10. And for the city search, yeah, we got BSS. We're at 0 out of 10 there. And we're actually, we also did not meet the recommended GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 organic page 1 Google slots. All right, so if you're just disappearing boudoir photographer, meaning you've done your local searches, you've done your city searches for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords, and you've had 0 or 1 slots, so you've had BSS for at least one of those, and, well, or you have not hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google for any one of those, and you've accepted the false belief of page 1 equality. So you actually know Google wants to give us as many page 1 slots as we want to put in the effort to take. And your CN S-cubed methodology is the only way forward, the only path forward to acquire all those slots. It's actually, you've been waiting for something like this. And you're liking the initial benefits of S-cubed methodology, more slots page 1 on Google. You really like that page 1 on Google. You actually really can kick your competitors off page 1 on Google, effectively making them invisible or making them disappearing, and making their business go down the path of disappearing. So you really like that. And you actually want, actually looking ahead because you understand market saturation and you're realizing that AI is going to be taking more and more people's jobs. So not only do you need these slots on Google, you actually need to overslot on Google. You need to fortify your position for all of the new boudoir photographers that are going to be entering the marketplace. And as a result, the only solution you can see that'll help you fortify your position page 1, literally get like so many links to page 1 that Google can't even rank all your links on page 1, and they push you back to taking over page 2 and 3 and 4 because you got so many page 1 backup links. The only solution you see that can provide that benefit is S-cubed methodology, basically like fortifying the levees down in Nolens, Louisiana, because that city's below sea level, so fortifying it against the ocean. You're fortifying this against current boudoir, current boudoir photographers getting anyone on page one, and also any future boudoir photographers or AI is taking their jobs, force them to become boudoir photographer, ever ranking page one as well. And you want to achieve page one visibility. You want to become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility because you know you need these things on your way to become the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. You also understand SQ methodology is basically building invisible thematic keyword columns on the, kind of out in cyberspace, basically in the AI mindshare in cyberspace, kind of have these columns connected to your brand, your business name, your social handles out there in cyberspace where AI really cares about, repetition, relevance, frequency, authority, age of all these invisible thematic keyword columns. And every day we successfully execute SQ methodology and grow those columns, increase those columns, we're increasing the probability we show up here AI overview, which means we're also increasing which is the most premium search placement there is. Cannot pay for this. And we're also increasing the probability that AI search recommends us. And we don't get any of these benefits paying for any ads. This is only through S-cubed methodology. And increased probability AI search recommends us. And that'd be things like ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Google Gemini, Microsoft Copilot, kind of increase in probability we show up in these searches, which these searches increase every single day in usage. I remember the last time I searched ChatGPT for boudoir photographers in the city, it gave me 3. And I actually went and did a manual Google and search and Facebook search. And dude, it was like 60. It's like, man, we got to find some way to get one of these 3 slots. And yeah, SQ methodology is the only solution you see out there that does increase that probability every day that we successfully execute it. And you're also liking that, it can help you create a large, well-known brand, approximately 8x faster than every other method. So market saturation becomes less and less a problem for you. And imagine if you continue using SQ methodology when you have a large, well-known brand, essentially be, unbeatable. And you also understand that my current plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city. And so as a result, you're liking that you can get all these benefits, but also exclude your competitors from getting all these benefits. And you can actually build up, you can kick them off their first pages, Google, fortify page one against them to never actually increase, never actually get back onto page one, essentially. And you can also build up such a large kind of gap with the backend AI mindshare with those keywords, those invisible thematic keyword columns, that your competitors in the city really have no chance to ever catch up to you. So you decide to be a first mover and actually acquire all these things, all these benefits, and exclude your competitors from getting all these benefits. And you understand the converse, where if one of your competitors in your city was a first mover and signed out with me before you, they'd be getting all these benefits. You'd be kicked off page one on Google, maybe even page 2, relegated, way deep in the catalog. Definitely be disappearing. You would definitely be a disappearing boudoir photographer. We'd then be fortifying it page 1 against you ever climbing back on there. We'd be building the back end AI keyword mindshare for your boudoir photography competitor in your city, building up their brand, building up a gap so large that basically no other competitor, including you, could ever reach them. And in order to compete with that, you would have to rederive SQ methodology all on your own. And once you redrive that all on your own, you'd never actually be 100% confident you derived it correctly. You would actually have to then go successfully execute every single day, same as us. And then when you do that, the most that you would get is you would maintain the gap me and your competitor have already built in front of you because you'd be equaling our output each day. So you'd have to actually 2 to 3x our output every single day, but it'd be hard to commit that much time because, again, you're not even 100% confident you've derived the strategy correctly in the first place. And, to do all this, who's got 80 hours in a day? So you're deciding, screw that. You decide you're going to be the first mover in your city. And as a result, that's you. Shoot us a DM. Our DMs are currently closed because the hospital is currently closed for new patient intake. But When the hospital does reopen for new patient intake, shoot us a DM, and we will see if you qualify to utilize our S cubed methodology.